Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, July 3rd, 2017, and this is your fun fact of the day. Language is ever-changing. Words come and go, as do their proper definition and their colloquial definition. That's just common, everyday usage. One such example of this is how the word adult has morphed from what used to be simply a noun, a classification usually deeming age and maturity level, has become a verb, where one can now actually, I'm going to adult. Is actually a colloquial usage of this word in today's language. Well, this is actually where we settled on for the next 13 weeks. In Maturity Mondays, we're going to look at some examples of how some people may actually need some help learning how to adult. For instance, for successful adulting, you'll likely need to look for a job. You may already have one, but in the event that you don't actually magically land with a perfect career choice for the next how many ever decades from current age until retirement, you will likely need to look for at least one job in your entire life. There's actually some proper tips to go about doing this, and some ones that you may want to avoid. Let's look at some of these. Let's focus on the resume today. How to write an acceptable resume. For instance, use an appropriate size font. Use an appropriate size for your letters. 9 to 12 is probably your best shot. Also use an appropriate font type. The style of lettering really matters here. Times New Roman or Helvetica, even Arial sometimes. Case in point, most jobs, if it looks boring, it probably counts as professional. Many professions, this kind of goes hand in hand, as professional and what looks to be boring. List your work history and the previous jobs you've held, starting with the most recent at the top. Usually. This is how a lot of hiring managers prefer to see it. They want to see where you're looking to leave from, and then look at where you've looked or worked in the past. Unfortunately, you can't just make a single one-size-fits-all resume and expect to be hired everywhere. You should actually tailor your resume with some proper words that are relevant to the job you're applying for. If you are applying for a writing job, you may actually want to consider using some significantly in-depth writing styles, or at least a large vocabulary. If you're looking for an engineering job, you may actually want to include some engineering mumbo-jumbo, whatever that entails. Don't be overly wordy or too simple. Studies have actually shown approximately 400 words total across your entire resume is a pretty good number to shoot for. I don't actually know how they came up with that number. I'll guess they asked a lot of hiring managers what resumes they thought were good and what resumes they thought were bad, analyzed all those resumes they looked at, and found an average of approximately 400-ish words on the page. Don't be afraid to use color where appropriate. Not every resume has to be pure black and white. Some jobs, especially things like designing jobs, where you should have more of a portfolio to go along with your resume, or even acting jobs, where you should include a headshot, and it should probably be a color headshot, or at the very least have a good amount of grayscale to it, very detailed scale. Not every resume has to be text only, black and white. This is part of the tailoring it to the job that you're trying to get. You should actually make sure it's appropriate. Now, some common pitfalls that people run into when they're making their resume is they forget to put their name on it. You should make sure the resume can be identified as yours. You should put your name on your resume. You should also include your current work, what your job entails, your current job title, and the company you work for, if this is relevant. If you're unemployed, then depending on the period of unemployment, some employers actually would prefer you say you're unemployed, or you just say, I'm just still looking for a job. And they'll see that month gap between your previous job and the current application and probably put two and two together on their own. When you're listing your work history, all the previous jobs you worked at, they want to know when you worked there. You can't just say, worked at Walmart, worked at Speedway gas station, looking for a job now. Probably not going to get a call back from that resume. They want to know when you worked there and how long you worked there for, and all the things you did while you were there. You don't need to get too personal on a resume. It likely doesn't matter how many kids you have, or if you can balance 30 cups on your chin in a single stack. Impressive, sure, probably not relevant for the job. Again, keep it relevant. And as I mentioned before, if a headshot is necessary or even possibly helpful, why not? Include one. When you're listing your contact information, a phone number is good, really good. An address is better. An email address is also exceptionally helpful. And if you include your email address, make it a professional one. If you even need to, make a new email account. It actually takes about a minute, depending which service you're using. It might take 2 minutes. Use an appropriate email, not sexybeast91 at hotmail.com. Not going to look so good to people who are trying to hire you for a job. Don't overuse bullet points. Avoid filler words like a, the, and then. You can get a little sparse with your words Be descriptive, but don't be overly wordy with your descriptions. Learn how to write succinctly. If your GPA concerning schooling happens to be good, like a 3.5 or better, feel free to include that. It shows a lot of good dedication. If it's not at least a 3, focus on other accomplishments instead to help emphasize your good qualities. If you're looking for more tips or more feedback, or even just further reading on this, there are links in the description below. You should probably check them out. Couldn't hurt. In other news, today is National Eat Your Beans Day, but beans are kind of magical. Hope you've enjoyed this fun fact of the day. See you tomorrow.